Hey, Foothill Church, Ike here. I'm in my backyard getting a nice foretaste of summer, the sun, and my son, Tennyson over there, is having a wild battle with sharks, bulldozers, and tigers, as we all should do now and then. Anything that will give us a break from all the politics that are going on. I was chatting with a neighbor yesterday, and the conversation went something like, well, there's this many cases here and this many cases here, and I heard there's a theory that that this is all here to distract us from a comet that's coming, and we should be more like Sweden, and then you go on Facebook and you hear all these different things, and I've never heard so many times where people are referred to as numbers and cases, and I get it, it's stats. I'm not trying to be a hippie here, but my heart can't help to remember, in Genesis 1, that we're referred to as people made in the image of God. And because of that, every person, even that person on Facebook who's really annoying with all their opinions, or the people that you just love, everybody carries incredible value. And when we read Genesis 1 and the story of creation of man, there's some things that should encourage you, and there's some things that should encourage you to encourage others. And I just want to share with you real quick that. Number one, how you should be encouraged. First, days 3 through 6, we see that God gave man dominion. He says, hey, I want you to look after, as my ambassador, made in my image, with part of my authority, to look after the plants, to look after the livestock, the birds of the air, the fish of the sea. But he does not do that with days 1 and 2, light and water. Obviously, we can't control light and water, but God holds on to those on purpose, because those are the things that give life. There's some things we have no control over. God holds on to that. So yes, we should show wisdom in our logistics, in our small decisions, but I want you just to feel some of the anxiety pull away and say, you don't have control over the big things. We have to give that to God. We have to petition him and ask him to take care of us in that. We know he will from his promises, but be comforted in that, knowing that God is in control of what gives us life. Secondly, another way you can be encouraged, when God does create man, we see in the first part of creation, in the first days, the word Elohim is used. It's a very formal name for God and kind of refers potentially to the Trinity. But when God creates man, a more personal name, Yahweh, is used. And I just want you to know, God cares for you. You were made with delight. We sing that song where heaven spun creations, his pride and admiration. God created you with delight and a strong purpose. Know that you're valued by God. Through this, he has not forgotten you. Now here's the part where you go encourage other people. So remember, he did give us dominion over some things. So we could sit back and think, well, I represent, I'm like God in this, but I think one of the most important aspects of being made in God's image is how we represent him. We're his ambassadors. And one example we can look to is how Jesus acted when he was a human. We might sing this song this weekend, More Like Jesus, but it said, he came to this world he created, he washed the feet of those he came to serve. He counted his status as nothing. Let that just encourage you to go and represent God to your neighbors. Make those phone calls, buy those gift cards, drop off those donuts with gloves on, things like that. But go and bless people with the presence of God and be a help. I love you guys. Be encouraged. You are worth a lot, and you can make other people feel the same. In Jesus' name, may it be so. Peace.